Hello everyone, so this will come to no surprise that the Gardaí are not fucked to do their jobs. Excuse my language, but it's the truth. So the roads policing unit, there was pretty much, I suppose, a reporter, I suppose, and inspectors and stuff with members of Garda Síochána out to see their day-to-day work, pretty much. And this is to do with the roads policing unit, supposed to police the roads. And pretty much what they've come back with shows you a lot about what Garda Síochána has turned into. And these are the people supposed to be protecting us, just to say. It's supposed to keep order and police the state by consent, of course, too, of the Irish people. But of course, that's all gone out the window in the modern day on Garda Síochána. But if you commit talk crime, they'll be very serious about that. But if there's knife crime or something like that, you won't find the Garda anywhere near them. But long story short, it finds that the Garda are not bothered the whole to do anything. A lot of them are just outright disubordination, to be totally honest. A blatant disregard of anybody, the public or even themselves. They just couldn't be bothered to do it. It's simple as that. And we all know the Gardaí in Cavan, take for example, are all hiding in the guards' barracks because they're too afraid if they get wet or that you would have work to do. They're all right going after uninsured drivers and stuff, but when it comes to serious crime, burglaries and stuff like that, they take hours to turn up. They're hiding in the guards' barracks, as I say. Like, a lot of them just don't want to do anything. As simple as that. And that's the kind of Gardaí we have nowadays, unfortunately, in this country. They just couldn't be bothered to enforce the law. And when you have that kind of stuff, there's many different reasons why. Take, for example, when they do catch the people, eventually, like in terms of burglaries, take, for example, there was a few burglaries in Cavan a few months ago. They caught the person, they went to court, and the judge let them off with it. So the Gardaí wrote up a whole load of paperwork and got the person red-handed, and then he went to court. The judge let him off with a fully suspended sentence, a bit of a fine, and out he goes again to commit the same crime again. So you wouldn't really blame him. I'd be disheartened too if I was a guard and caught the person that was actually causing the crime and brought them to court, and then the judge let them off with it. Not to mention then too, some of the Gardaí just couldn't be asked to do it. They just couldn't care less. And it's a blatant disregard to the public, and not even that too. It's a danger to the public too, that a member from Garda Síochána should be able to do the job and should be willing to do the job. Because again, they're getting paid for it. They're not like doing a volunteer, and I wouldn't mind if they wouldn't get paid for it. They're getting more than you and I at the end of the week. So it isn't good enough. It is really nearly not good enough. And especially as you see every day of the week, nearly unfortunately now, people are dying on the roads due to speed, due to drugs, due to drinking and driving. And there's not the Gardaí don't seem to care to do anything about it, because if the Gardaí really wanted to police the roads and keep the roads safe, they could do it if they really, really wanted to, but a lot of the Gardaí just couldn't be bothered. So a lot of these guards, I don't know what to say to you, especially because they knew they were being monitored. This is the crazy thing, and they just didn't give a shit. So it just goes to show they have blatant disregard to everybody. And you see, the Gardaí are good up beating up Irish grannies outside the wet provision centres. But when somebody comes with a knife and stuff, they're not much addition. They run away. In case they be caught far right, etc. But on Garda Síochána again, they've lost the majority of the trust of the Irish people. Years ago, the Gardaí, you could trust the Gardaí to do their job and to keep people safe. But nowadays, unfortunately, that's all gone. I used to, when I was younger, trust in God. When I was really, really young too, I wanted to join on Garda Síochána. But nowadays the Gardaí are a joke. Like, they really, really are a joke. They're more worried about talk crime and hate crime than they are about knife crime and people being killed and drugs and stuff like that. Don't get me started on Dublin city centre. The mess that's turned out there. And the Gardaí are just too afraid to do anything. So in a lot of cases, they are just too afraid. They're too afraid to be called names and stuff to actually do their job. Which is not a good thing, because again, society collapses when there's no law and order. Because if we didn't have a police force and stuff, people be killing each other, like, it'd be insane. Like, at the moment of time, we might as well not really have a police force, because the crime's just rampant around the country. And as I say, the state just lets these people out. But yeah, I do feel, in some way, I do feel sorry for the guards. They do have a tough job. It's not an easy job. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a great job. Some of these road policing unions have seen awful stuff in terms of traffic accidents and stuff, people mutilated, and people, God, we don't even want to think of it. But at the same time, too, they have an obligation to the state. They have an obligation to every citizen to do their best in their duties. That's all we ask of them, to do their best. We're not asking them to be everywhere at once. It's impossible for a person to be everywhere at once. But even just to do their best, to give the most they can to the state, to protect the citizens of the state. to keep the peace, as the on Garda Síochána is supposed to be. Keepers of the peace. And unfortunately, Ireland's not at peace at the moment. But so let me know what you take. We all knew this anyway. We didn't really need to report it because the Gardaí nowadays just couldn't be bothered. And there's no simple other ways. Maybe there's other issues. But as we know, the Gardaí, as John Wilson famously said, is the biggest criminal gang of the state. So there you go. And that was a sergeant on Garda Síochána that said it. And we don't even want to get into that whole situation again, because the Gardaí, and especially every day of the week nearly now, you hear that the former Gardaí was up in court for this and that and the other. It doesn't exactly combine trust in the Irish people in Garda Síochána. But I mean, let me know what you think. Subscribe for more and bye.